Do we have an intro? Is that how I cue it? I don't know. Welcome back to episode 2 of Odd Man Sports, the name you picked, that you voted for this show to be. I am your host, Brandon. The greatest bet you can make is betting on yourself, unless you're Pete Rose Perna. And I am here to beat the odds. Those odds, the 98% chance this show gets canceled by episode 3. Luckily, I host another football show on my YouTube channel called That's Good Sports, which can only be canceled if I die. If you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe to both shows just in case I do continue to live. Today, I have a roundup of potentially humorous and/or insightful NFL observations that you won't find anywhere else. And if you do find them somewhere else, please tag me in the comments so I can formally file a copyright infringement complaint to my lawyer, Jeffrey Toobin, the tubiest man in the Zoom business. We also have some gambling analysis as we look back at real people who won real money on real football being played in front of fake fans. And then we will conclude the show, as we do every week, with a special message to the one fan base that needs it more this week than the other 31. Will it be your team? I'm not gonna tell you. You gotta watch the whole show to find out, because you know, there's definitely no way to skip ahead either to figure it out. Watch the show. YouTube gets really pissed off if you don't watch a whole episode. It is time for Dink and Dunk, the segment named in honor of the greatest short pass thrower in NFL history, Tom Brady, who's performing some voodoo on the Tampa Bay Rays right now for hogging the spotlight in Tampa. Is Tom Brady so good that just by being in Tampa Bay, he helped the Lightning win the Stanley Cup and then sent the Rays to the series? Short answer, no. Long answer, no. Now it is fall, the leaves are changing, and that tells me it's time for watching my favorite pastime. One almost as old as that sapling outside of my window. My basement window. I'm referring, of course, to watching Phillip Rivers throw costly late-game interceptions. Sure, the Colts beat the Bengals last week, but the universe, just like turnover ratios, have a way of evening out. And you can be sure as sugar that Big Phil will be back and ready to fudge up again after a bye week. Ever so sweetly shot-putting footballs into opponents, barely outstretched arms, gently whispering complaints into the ref's ears, giving and receiving loving titty twisters in the locker room to build camaraderie. I love watching Phil do all of those things. Now it's time for a little audience participation. This is where I, the host, ask you, the viewer, a question to make you feel like you're a part of the show, even though you're not. My corporate overlords at the game day have tested this and assure me it works. So if you, yes you, were building a football team to win this season, which player are you selecting first? Patrick Mahomes, maybe? That's a solid bet, assuming he can pack Andy Reid in a very large suitcase and bring with him. But as a man who watched John Elway not win Super Bowls until Terrell Davis arrived, I'm taking Derrick Henry, who, as you've surely seen, is doing a pretty good peak Adrian Peterson impersonation right now. Only he keeps the punishment on the field. Ow! Now, is there a bigger gap between the best and second best player at his position than Henry and whoever you consider the second best back to be? He had a signature play in Week 5, stiff-arming Josh Norman into retirement and a Dancing with the Stars appearance. And then, of course, the signature play of Week 6, his 94 yards and a cloud of DBs to finish off the Texans. He's the first guy to successfully mess with Texas and win. The guy is a Tonka truck, and it turns out trucks are good at running people over. And King Henry is a nice reminder that running the ball still can win games. According to my Denver Broncos, they don't need Derrick Henry because they don't even need touchdowns to win games. So that would be a real waste here in Denver. because this is technically a gambling adjacent show, I wanted to point out a few insane bets that recently caught my eye. This one, not this one. This one. This one is what I use to watch my baby. That's what good dads do, multitasking. A $75,000 parlay was placed on the Ravens money line, the Dolphins money line, and the Steelers covering 3. And when the Ravens narrowly came through, this guy pulled in a nice $221,000 payout. Ryan Fitzpatrick is what we call a volatile stock, and I applaud this better man for riding Fitzmagic at exactly the right time. One bettor put down $250 at plus 3,500 on Aaron Rodgers scoring the first touchdown, which he did, so hooray. And then it was called back despite the crotch thrusting. Oh, so it's cool when Aaron Rodgers does it to the camera, but not my lawyer, Jeffrey Toobin? That flag cost our better man a cool $9,000, which I can relate to because one time I pumped one too many times as well, and now I have to pay for a hell of a lot more in tuition 18 years from now. And finally, in tales of people who hate money, a customer in Vegas put down $40 last Tuesday for a ticket for the Jets to not just make it to the Super Bowl but win. The odds, 5,000 to 1, which actually seem low to me. Look, if you want to blow $40, just subscribe to my Patreon. You might actually get something out of it. Maybe that guy was listening to Kevin Malone's advice, who in that Office documentary said if someone ever gives you 10,000 to 1 odds, you take it. Well, you were halfway there. Now I can think of a few things more likely than the Jets winning the Super Bowl. First might be the 2019 Jets winning the Super Bowl somehow. America coming together on election night, regardless of the outcome. Or Trevor Lawrence watching this franchise go down like the Hindenburg and saying, yeah, I'm leaving school early for that. Which leads us to our fan salute. Last and definitely least, we continue with the New York Jets. And because this is a show about bets, I'm going to channel my inner Bette Midler and be the wind beneath the Jets' wings. Gangrene fans have convinced themselves that while they've become the laughingstock of the league, at least they are on a clear course to win the Tank for Trevor sweepstakes. Not so fast, Jets fans. Last year, the Jets raced out to a 1-7 start and were in pole position for the top pick, only to screw that up by winning 6 of their last 8 to finish a meaningless 7-9. GM Joe Douglas can trade Jamal Adams and release Le'Veon Bell, even hold out Mekhi Becton. But the two people who have the most ability to successfully engineer a tank are the quarterback, who is far from the worst player on this team, arguably he's one of the best, and the kicker. Sam Ficken is a perfect 8 for 8 on the season. His leg is not capable of tanking. It just Ficken won't. With Darnold under center, the Jets are going to win a couple big games. Maybe. Especially late in the season against opponents with less to play for. Despite not covering the spread in any of their first 6 games, I am predicting the Jets to go a still shitty 3-7 the rest of the way. Just enough to dodge T-Law and grab the number 2 draft pick. How do I know this? Because they are the Jets. When this team does something right, like intercept a pass, they have to do it the hardest way, like by catching the ball with their ass. We all remember the butt fumble, but I'm curious how this infamous interception will be referred to in future years. The butt pick, the ass grab, the ass man for a Seinfeld New York favorite. Please comment below on what the play will be called in the future. And if you get it right, just know we will not be coming back to read these in the future, so you get nothing. So Jets fans, while you'll probably miss out on next year's franchise-altering quarterback and the coolest thing we've seen to Peyton Manning in a decade, not all is lost. A can't-miss quarterback who looks even more like Manning is in the pipeline, and we already know he looks great in green and white. I'm talking about Peyton's nephew, high school sophomore Arch Manning, who's the #1 high school quarterback prospect in the class of 2023. Think about it. His granddad, Archie, already has a track record of funneling his kids to New York. I can see it now. With the first pick of the 2026 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select Arch Manning. So good news, Jets fans, only 6 more seasons of total misery and then 3 seasons of developing Arch. And if you're still alive then, maybe, just maybe you hit 9-7 or 10-6. That is our fan salute to the Jets fans. Thanks for watching this episode. Please subscribe here on The Game Day. You gotta subscribe to this channel. We've got tons of football videos about all sorts of football things.